be, what are you looking for in students?
That is a really tough one. I'm not a great believer in grades in general. I had a guy who never graduated in the end and was an absolute superstar. What I actually look for is people who are driven. That's most important. Who are driven, who are committed, who want to make a career, but who are independent thinkers and who challenge what we do and how we do things.
And how does AIESEC close the gap between the university education and what you are looking for in students? Because probably as a former AIESECer, you know that AIESEC provides certain skills.
I think when I look at universities, I think there are two camps, aren't there? There is, the guys who study, engineering, scientific degrees like chemistry and those sorts of things. And I think they're most probably university education is really good because they have huge budgets for research and all those sorts of things. And most probably, what you then get as a result is actually really, really good people. Yeah, and I think you can see that in the German economy, can't you? But then when you look at our side, where that's not relevant for us. Yeah, I need people who can manage, who can lead, who can drive things, so management skills. And when it comes to that, I'm actually terribly concerned about what universities deliver in those days. Yeah, when you look at most of the university lecturers or teachers who teach economics, most of them have never ever worked in a company. They might sit in some advisory board, but they never ever had management responsibility for large divisions, companies, and those sorts of things. And I always wonder, how can you teach something so practical like management without having done it yourself? Yeah. And I think that is where the gap arises, is that now with the bachelor system and master system also, I think university is so much more school-like. If you have to attend university lectures, for example, nobody cared when I was at university, and that just gave you the opportunity again to learn more skills, like to organize your own life, to decide what is important. Is it more important to go to this lecture, or is it more important to do something else? And I think those choices are taken away. And AIESEC is an absolute unique opportunity to do things which you might not even be able to do later on in your career. Yeah, for example, if you take the MC, if you go for a year in the MC, and if you look at the management responsibility you have in that position, you most probably need 15 years in your career to get that level. Yeah, and you get that in AIESEC in your university time, in an absolute unbelievable experience, which I still use every single day.
Okay. So you would recommend an MC position?
I would recommend any position. MC might not work for everybody because it's a year out of university, and that just might not work. Yeah, but I think I would recommend any leadership position within AIESEC. It's great skills, and if it's a national support team where you suddenly support and lead people virtually, that's key. International companies, a lot of people have teams now which are spread over several remote locations, and you interact with them via video conferencing, telephone conferences, and those sorts of things. And where do you learn? To lead on distances, And again, I think leadership is the next big thing. When I was in AIESEC, I was always thinking, how I motivate my LC, how I motivate my support teams, and those sorts of things. And I was always dreaming that when I have a real job, they all have an employment contract and they have to do what I tell them. Yeah, just forget about that. Nobody does what you tell them just because they're employed by you. They do what you want them to do if you engage them. Yeah, and again, that is a really key learning point you get from AIESEC.
Thank you. Back to the more company perspective now, what would you tell other companies, or what do you think, why is it important for companies to attend events like the Y2B or like career fairs in general?
Because I think it's our responsibility. Yeah, to prepare my keynote speech, I asked a couple of the other partners for input and what they're looking for in students, and actually they're looking for what I'm looking for. So what I just said, and I think the point is that universities most probably can't deliver that, because how do you do that? Yeah, logistically already impossible. Yeah, and so actually, if we want graduates with that sort of experience, well, then it's our responsibility to help them to make that experience. Yeah, and I think that can be done on all sorts of levels. That can be very easily done with having some budget set aside every single year and just donate funds, to student organizations such as AIESEC. Or actually perfectly give some money and get involved. Yeah, what the partners do here, and that if every company does that, that will just in general increase the level of what we get out of universities.
And the last question already.
Yeah.
How does your company or you contribute to this educational gap or problem in university itself? How does your company help young students to develop and learn more, maybe, or when they are later on employees of your company?
Well, see, we personally in our training approach, we believe on very tailored training. Yeah, so we don't have a formalized graduate program where 20 come in and they do exactly the same steps. Yeah, when we hire a graduate, everybody will have a different learning experience within the company, and that will be purely tailored to what they already have. They might bring some really good skills and might lack others, and it's more on-the-job training. Yeah, we are a great believer to just push them and give them responsibility, and then watch that they're not drowning, but give them a lot of freedom to actually achieve what they want to achieve. Yeah? And then in general, as an employer, I think what is really important for us is that career with us is not connected how long you work for us. It is purely connected how well you contribute to the company. So a graduate can make a career very, very, very quickly. Yeah?